Hey man,
How you doing?
good yourself?
Good. Sorry about yesterday, man. I completely forgot.
Not a problem. Don't worry about it. Where are you in Florida right now?
Sorry?
Are you still in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Tampa right now. I'm gonna be here till Friday.
Nice. What are you gonna do? Set up all the stuff for the property?
We have to actually do some renovations to add some rooms. So I'm speaking to contractors and property managers. So we're gonna get the whole place remodeled within the next 2 months, hopefully.
Okay. Nice. I saw you guys got something in Portugal too, no?
Yeah, close a condo in Portugal to do some short-term rentals with it.
Nice.
We're
How,
5 minutes from the beach in Portimao.
that's really good. What do you?
Yeah.
How did you? How did that go? Like investing all the way there?
I was a few hurdles, but I have a cousin that moved from Montreal to Portugal. He bought one or two condos already, and what we did is we did a lot of like power of attorneys to basically so he could sign off on documents for us.
Yeah.
It was a fucking nightmare. I'm gonna be honest. It was not easy, but we got it done finally. But it wouldn't be probably the same way I would do it. If I would do it again, I would probably fly down, just sign all the documents a week while I'm there and get it all done. It took like few months of jumping through hurdles, like getting accounts opened with the banks. The banks are all so old school over there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. We were looking into Costa Rica, and like everyone was saying, like the biggest challenge is getting all the paperwork with the banks over there, and like
Yeah.
transferring your
I
money
would
and
tell you
stuff.
just take the trip and go down and do it all in person at that point.
Yeah.
So now you're looking to invest over there?
Yeah. So we were looking at the short-term rentals,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like exploring different markets, seeing how the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spoke with Mauricio and Rodrigo Araujo.
Yeah.
So yeah, they told me about that they like invested in Pad Split, and I had no idea
Yeah.
what it was. So he explained it a bit, and he was like that it's like room rentals, but like they modify it to make more room so it can cash flow more.
Yeah.
So I think they ended up buying two. I think if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's what I saw too. They bought two of them in the last week or so. That's when they bought them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when I saw
But
you,
do you know if like how they like when you spoke to them, did they give you any details on how they got financing and everything?
no, nothing at all. It was just a quick little call. He told me to check it out, check out the website, and set up a call. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have a call coming up on Tuesday, I think.
Who are you speaking to with?
Um, Taylor.
Yeah, I think she's the Florida rep. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm dealing with another guy. I'm dealing with this guy Ellis Tran.
Mm-hmm.
He's based out of Phoenix, but I got his contact info first, and I reached out to him like last August. We spoke.
How did you like discover them?
I've been watching a lot of Pace Morby on Sub Two community,
Yeah.
and Pace did one pad split, and I got to know the company, and I basically jumped on a call with Ellis Tran within a week of that first call. I got to understand how they go about things, what markets to look for, what makes a good house. Like I kept pinging him with questions because these guys are pretty much sales reps. So if you have any questions, their whole concept is they have to try and onboard you. So the more you ping them to ask for questions and figure out how to do things and ask for their insights, the better it is because they're gonna get rewarded once you sign up. Pretty much like you become a host.
Okay, so they're like that's their job, sales reps, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. They basically their job is to try and more rooms on the platform. So they're trying to educate new people like ourselves to come into the co-living space.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like affordable housing. They have like I think 10 to 12,000 rooms right now across the U.S. And I think this year they want to try and give a push to get to 24,000 this year.
Okay.
So so they're really trying to push, and they're not in all cities yet. They originated in Atlanta. They now just got to certain parts of Florida. They got to Phoenix, Arizona. They got to a lot of Texas, a lot of Nevada. they're in more of the southern states right now.
Yeah.
But they're slowly moving up to other places too. Because I'm sure they're gonna get to New York. I'm sure they're gonna get to what's it called, like Minnesota, Chicago. They're gonna get to all these big cities because it's basically people who struggle to pay rent and work in a big city, right? So the closer you work to the city center, the more expensive it is. Pad splits are still way cheaper because it's a midterm rental process. So I don't know how familiar you're with it, but it's midterm rentals. They rent the first 30 days, and then it's on a week to week after that.
Okay.
So they don't even follow the normal tenancy laws of the state. So you're kind of benefiting on that approach. They pay with credit cards. PadSplit manages all the tenants and all that stuff in the sense of like disputes and everything. They also take care of the marketing. So picture PadSplit website as the Airbnb platform that
Airbnb. Yeah.
advertises these people and basically showcases your rooms to rent.
Okay.
Their fees are pretty hefty. Right now, they're at a 15%, so 12% management fee, 3% transaction. But now they're going to be changing in May to 8% management fee. And then they take the first 10 days of rent.
So the first 10 days of the first 30 days?
I don't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
So they take the first 10 days of every new customer?
Every time someone moves in, they take the first 10 days.
Okay.
So the longer you keep the tenant, the better it is because you save on a lot more fees.
I see.
So they say on average, if you're a decent host, you should be able to keep people like 8 to 9 months. That's what they're saying.
Okay. But they're the ones that are managing everything, no? Like, where does...
They only manage the tenants and the onboarding of like people. Like they send you, like you have to finalize. Like if someone wants to book your room, they send you a request. You have 24 hours to either accept or reject. They receive the payments, credit card payments, and all that stuff, and then they disperse the payments to you monthly. They take care of bringing on new people to the platform. They help you like manage your platform too, but you still have to advertise and all that stuff, and you still technically have to get if you're doing this abroad like we are, we're gonna have to get a management company to take care of like the property itself. If there's wear and tear, if there's any like let's say toiletry that breaks or whatever it is, we have to call. They're gonna call the property manager company to take care of those things because Pad still doesn't take care of that aspect.
Okay.
So that's why like it could be pretty heavy depending on how you structure it. You can try and be the property manager from a distance because technically you're just taking phone calls and then dispatching people. But we don't have I don't have my contacts here in Tampa, so I'd rather just leave it to the property manager. There's some that take like 6 to 8%, so you're paying the 15 already to PadSplit or 8 now, and then the other 6 to 8 as well. So you got to find a good spot, and usually like the sweet spot is like 6 to 8 bedrooms is usually really good.
Wow, like homes already with that amount of rooms?
Oh, you want to try and make the house into that. So the one we just bought, we're converting it. It's a 4.2, and I'm going to convert it to a 7.2 or an 8.2. So it's going to cash flow very, very well. Like we're projecting about a 20 to 25% cash on cash return.
Okay, so that's pretty high.
That's just cash on cash, not even like total. That's not equity pay down. That's not appreciation. Like nothing else. Just cash on cash. So it's very strong, and we put in some buffers, vacancies, collection fees. Like there's so many things we put in. So we're gonna see how the first year turns out. I don't think it's gonna perform less than like a 15% cash on cash.
Yeah.
Like I don't see it in any way not performing less than that.
That's really good.
Yeah. So it's a really strong business model. But the hardest part that it's just creating the corporations and then you have to set up your proper GPLP structure, and then you gotta get like financing. And financing, you're probably gonna be getting. I'm sure Rodrigo got financing on a DSCR loan, which is kind of like a debt coverage ratio.
Okay, how did you guys do it?
Sorry?
How did you guys do it for the financing?
I didn't have to qualify for anything. I did a sub 2.
Oh, really? Already
So
you found an owner down there?
I spoke to an owner. We negotiated, and I convinced him that I was going to pay him a lump sum to leave the property, and he would keep the loan, and I would get the title of the property. So now we're making the payments on his loan. He keeps the loan under his name, so I don't have to qualify. I put in 40,000 to get into the property, which is 10% down for the property, what it's worth. I have a 5% interest rate compared to the 8 to 9% that you probably get as a DSCR loan. And yeah, I didn't have to qualify for anything, so it's going to be hopefully great, but we'll see what happens.
That's really good. Because they have homes too, no? That you can buy off of them, I think.
So I think that's what Rodrigo did. He bought one that they're already pad split ready.
Yeah. And
So
wait,
I think they already did the adjustments in rooms and everything as well too.
okay, so they already have everything ready to go.
Yeah, I think one of his properties is an 8-bedroom, the other one's a 7 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, then yeah, it would be already renovated and stuff.
You could definitely buy like that. So I'm pretty sure he probably did a DSCR loan for that. But the question is, what I'm curious to know, I haven't done enough research on it, is see if, like, are you paying a premium for it, right? Because technically, if it's turnkey, you're probably going to pay a bit of a premium, and they're going to adjust what you're buying it for, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure in that regard. I don't know. I'm jumping on a call with him probably in like 2 weeks. I'm going to see. If I get any info, I'll let you know. I know I'm 100% sure he did a DSCR loan, unless he got an American to partner up with him where he qualified for the mortgage.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's the only thing I can think of. But if not, he probably did a DSCR loan, so he probably put 25 to 30% down. Unless he has good contacts, maybe he could push to 20, but I doubt that. And then he's probably paying a high interest rate. And I don't know if it's already functional or he just got the place and now he's going to operate it.
Yeah.
So there's on the PadSplit website, if you just create a free account, you can see that there's like PadSplits for sales in different areas and everything.
Yeah, I'll go check it out. And for the corporation, how much is the cost for that?
I'll refer you the guy. Don't refer too many people about it because I'm sure it's going to come back in our face. It's the same guy that Thomas uses. He's the cheapest on the market, and I've shopped it around like to 6 or 7 other guys. Everyone's quoted us like 10 grand American, and he's the one who quoted us about like I think 6K American, 5 to 6K American. So
and that's a full corporation?
I'm telling you, that's 3 corporations. You're doing a GP, an LP, and the LLC that owns the assets. So the way it works is the limited partnership is where you're investing the funds, so you guys are like limited only to you're in. The GP is what's the controlling partner, so the general partner who takes care of basically managing. He's the active partner, we'll say.
Yeah.
So he's technically the liable one, but you're not going to be like they own a small percentage of each other, and then the LLC is per state that you decide to invest in. So we bought in Florida, so we're going to be creating our LLC in Florida, and then it's owned by the LP.
That's a whole different world over there.
Oh yeah, it's I'm still learning on a few things, like what title companies do, what all these things, like it's night and day. I just said, you know what, let's just jump into it and we'll figure it out on the way, like I usually do. So.
So the LLC is owned by the LP, you said.
The LP, yeah, exactly. If you speak to him, so the guy's name is Bob Blum. I'll send you his contact info and everything. He's a great guy. He explains it very, very well. He takes time to take the first call with you, 30 to 45 minutes. He explains the whole concept to you, and then he can give you the associated price with it. Tell him that you're a Wealth Genius member. Tell him like I referred you or whatever it is you say, whatever. Like just someone from Wealth Genius and say Wealth Genius. He's gonna give you a discount too. It's gonna save you like $500 per structure. So just make sure to say it. Yeah, he's great, and then he puts you in contact with cross-border accountants because you need to have proper understanding of how to transfer the funds and then what taxes you're gonna have to potentially pay.
Yeah, that's
And
another
then,
headache
yeah,
that I heard,
pretty-
like how to get the money out of the States over to Canada.
So getting the money out is going to be an issue. It's just the fact that like the problem is if you don't set it up properly, if you don't create an LP, a GP-LP structure, like if you just open up an LLC, you'll get double tax. So if let's say the LLC pays 20% tax, and here you pay 50% tax, well, you're actually paying 70% tax. Whereas the LP is an entity that is recognized by Canada. So if you pay 20% tax in the States, that
You don't have
means
to
you get a
pay.
20% credit over here. So you're only paying a total of that, let's say 50% if you were paying a total of 50% in Quebec.
Oh, okay.
And we ask questions like already if we keep the money there, like do we have to pay taxes, whatever it is? And he says, no, it doesn't matter because even if you keep the money there, it's like the government, because you're a Canadian citizen, the government needs to know what you're doing with your funds. So if it stays there, it stays here. It's still your fund, so the government needs to know. So I'm like, okay. It's not like certain places, like if you keep money abroad, they won't say anything. So
Okay. And that are
it's
you guys reporting like that income over there or over here?
you're gonna have to do both. So we're gonna have the LLC is gonna report to the what was it called? Is it the Fed? Well, to the American, let's say, government, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna have to report here on the same time to the CRA. So depending also how you're gonna structure yourself, like, or we own the LP personally. So if you do a corporation, then you would have to like pay taxes from the corporation and then pay yourselves out through dividends and all that stuff. Or if you own it privately like us, then it just basically goes to your income tax brackets. And that's it. So either way, you're protected. Like you're protected for liability purposes and the double taxation. But again, it's going to be based on your tax bracket over here. So you got to be careful.
That's pretty cool. I think there's different ways to approach it. When you found your property, did you go on like what's it, Zillow? I think it's over there.
Yeah, Zillow's the one I use the most. Like you're gonna see sometimes Zillow has the property with not many pictures and not many details, but take the address and repunch it into Google, and you'll see either Realtor.com. You'll see other places because sometimes what happens is Zillow is like the number one platform that everything kind of goes on. You have for sale by owner, you have realtors and all that stuff, and then what you have is the realtor will probably put more description or more information on Realtor.com because he just was too lazy to go through Zillow, and also Zillow takes a cut sometimes when they like you call. But yeah, just I always look on Zillow, and then if I need to find more details, I'll just punch in the address, and I'll find it somewhere else.
Okay.
There's so many sites like LoopNet, Realtor.com, Redfin. You could go through a bunch of them.
Okay, that's really cool. I'll do that then. Because that's really good. Saves the financing aspect. Like going through that saves the financing.
Repeat, sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
No, I was saying like doing it the way that you did it. It would just save like time with the financing and all that.
Yeah, look. I'm not gonna lie. I must have called like 1,000 properties.
Yeah, of course.
So it's one of those things. Like it's a pure sales calls. Like just pure volume calling, and sometimes like first off, calling with a Canadian number. Some people think it's a scam. Then calling to explain it to sometimes an agent because the agent sometimes is listing. Explain it to the agent what subject to is and how he should explain it to the other client. And sometimes they don't want to know nothing. Forget it. It took me seriously. Like I got lucky that this guy was the owner who picked up the phone.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because even sometimes I picked up with the owner, and the owner is still like, he's like, no, I'm not interested. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for arbitrage deals for short-term rentals in Costa Rica, and like I had one locked down with the person, and then like on the same day, like they, you know, when you buy something and then you regret it, the same night she's like, no, this feels like a scam, blah blah blah, and right away blocked me. And I was like, what?
To have a conversation, yeah. Well, it's funny because now I have a team that does arbitrage and short-term rentals. Someone who takes care of my Airbnb as well. Like they're part of my team, so it's actually my girlfriend and my brother-in-law. They just locked up a place in Miami, but even that one was like, you don't know how many hurdles and conversations we had with those owners. Forget it. It was like nonstop calling people, people calling us scams. Like we're calling from a Canadian number. Call me when you have an American number. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my god. So they're getting the keys April 1st, and that's going to be the first one that they have in Miami. So it's looking like it's going to be a good deal, but just a month back and forth with the realtor over there was a nightmare. So trust me, I get where you're coming from. These arbitrage deals, it's a great opportunity to start, but it's so difficult sometimes with these people because they just think everything is a scam. Like it's not too good to be true. We'll put in the proper procedures in place. Like we're here to make sure that everyone wins. You know?
Yeah. It's like, all right, let me pay you the rent. It's gonna be easier for you.
Well, and that's the hardest part is I try to explain to people. I'm like, I'm a landlord. I'm like, if I could do Airbnb in Montreal, I would do it because I know that the person doing arbitrage has to keep the unit like clean.
Yeah.
So I know that the place is gonna be better kept as an arbitrage than with my long-term tenant.
That's very true. Because
That's one of the strings we always pull on is like we have to make sure it's super presentable like a hotel. So you know that your place is gonna be super clean, and we tell them we'll take care of the maintenance. If anything breaks, we take care of it. We say within reason, like if one of your pipes bursts underneath the floor, it's not my fault. But if there's toilet getting clogged, if there's some holes in the wall, we repair that. You know.
yeah, that's a good selling point. I always forgot to mention that.
I'm telling you, it's the point that I always lead with, just because it helps a lot more with the landlords. A guy who has experience will start to understand. I said, like, you're dealing with me. I'm paying you directly. Whether I have a bad month or a good month, you're getting your month rent regardless.
Yeah.
So he understands it that way, and I tell him, I said, think about it this way: the place has to be in mint condition. So if any damages happen, I have to repair it because I need the place to continuously look like the photos that are listed.
Yeah.
And it took a while, but we got one that finally understood. We got lucky too. He was a tired landlord who, the guy works for Google. He works in Jersey, and he bought in Miami, and he was doing Airbnb for like 2 months. And he's like, no, that's not for me. So he was just fed up, and we decided to and he was open to arbitrage. So we just basically said, okay, we'll do it. You know.
Yeah.
He was asking a lot more than what we gave him. We ended up giving him like I think we negotiated like $600 off the rent.
Wow.
So we got lucky, but. We're going to see how it performs now, right? They're getting the keys April 1st. They're flying down, and we're going to see how the next few months work.
Do you have any active listings right now for Airbnb?
We do not as of right now, but we're starting. Like I said, they're starting the co-host and arbitrage.
Yeah.
So they just got the arbitrage for April 1st. They're going down. They're setting up the place within 1 to 2 weeks. Then she's coming back, and I have one of my friends who was actually in a zone in Montreal who can do Airbnb, and he just bought a fourplex there. So we have one apartment that we're going to be co-hosting for him, actually. So we're going to have 2 listings at the same time. The one in Portugal, my cousin runs it right now. It's not our listing. He takes a fee off of the amount.
Yeah.
He has equity in the deal, but he takes a fee off the amount. But now this partner that we met in Montreal, he's potentially going to be, because he travels a lot for work, someone I've known for 8 years. He's in the e-commerce space. And we're looking to venture off to like Europe and everything with him. So now my girlfriend Victoria and my brother-in-law Joe, they're going to be taking care of the management across seas. So we're going to see how that happens, creating teams and all that stuff. But they're going to be managing, basically doing the co-host for all of us, and they would take a fee of like anywhere from 15 to 25% is the average. I say 20% is average.
Yeah.
But yeah, co-hosting too. That's something you guys should look into if you're already looking to do arbitrage. Maybe just offer someone your service co-host if you know someone in Costa Rica or anywhere that you can do it. Why not try to just do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I have one guy that I'm talking with. Right now I'm trying to rent out his space, and he was going to give me like a cut from the monthly rent.
Okay.
And he told me if I can sell it, then he would also give me a commission if I sell it.
Okay.
But now I told him like it's hard to rent it because he's only been doing it word of mouth to friends and family.
Okay.
So starting next month, his tenant moves out. So I told him it might be better, like if you want, put it on Airbnb, and then like I can handle the management for you.
Yeah.
So we might get that one. We'll see what happens. And I had another.
Yeah, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Charge a flat fee to make money regardless, because it works great for you, and you explain to him, charge a flat fee of percentage. So the more money we make, the more money we make as well. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand agreement, right?
Yeah.
And we save like all the headaches for you. All we got to do is and the cost, and then you just tell them like, okay, this is the things you need to put in to make it look presentable, and then we just manage it. So it doesn't come out of your dime as arbitrage would come out of your dime, and you still have to make money. Here you're just always in the green as long as you rent out some portions of the month.
Yeah.
So trust me, I keep pushing like, if you want to start with an arbitrage, and I said, look, arbitrage is not bad. I think it's a good opportunity, but there's more risk involved for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to put money up front and everything. I said, co-host, it costs you nothing. You tell the guy what to put in, you manage it for him, and you take a flat fee right off the top. Like, it's great.
Are you guys doing any co-hosting, or just the ones that you're gonna be having?
Repeat, sorry.
Are you doing any co-hosting or just the ones that you have coming up?
Just these ones so far, but we're gonna be pushing for more co-hosting this year. Like we want to try and get. I'm trying to get as many as I can with them. So like I do a lot of calls and I reach out to a few people, especially in Montreal, see if there's. I know there's specific areas that we can try.
Yeah.
But even overseas or in the States, like we're sending out messages and everything. We just have like a basic email template that we just forward to everyone. And we're hoping that a few are going to pick up and answer. We had a few that were interested, and then they fell off, like they fizzled out. But the co-hosting is what I'm going to be pushing the most right now until we onboard some of our own, or I see the arbitrage is doing extremely well, and we're ready to take on another one with an investment. Because the problem with the States is they're asking for like first month's rent, a deposit, and last month's rent. So it's 3 months up front, and like the one in Miami was $4,400 American. That's 15 grand right away.
Wow.
So it hurts. So it's like some of those things that like we want to make sure that like the place is running extremely smooth, and if we're confident enough with our abilities, then we're going to go to the next one. Because then not just that, there's also injection of you got to clean up the place. Like we're lucky the place is fully furnished, but it was very boring, very white, super like very basic. The guy put in beds, he put in tables, and he did nothing else.
Yeah.
So now when they're going down in April, they're going to revitalize the backyard. So that might cost like $5,000 what they want to put in. So it's all these little things that like they add up as an arbitrage person. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. A lot of them don't know how to market their units. And that's like what's hurting them.
They're lazy. They don't want to spend a little bit of money, like even just good photography sometimes. And some people are just like, no, I don't feel like it. Like,
yeah.
Okay, sure. But it leaves room for people who take this seriously. That's the way I see it.
That's true. Are for your arbitrage deals, are you running it like through a LLC down there?
Yeah, so they created an LLC, a Florida LLC. They did the same thing,
The
a
whole
GPLP,
structure?
and then they did an LLC for the company, and they're signing it under the LLC so that there's no liability for them as well.
Okay, I think that has to be done then. Like for us to move into the States, it's needed.
If you're looking in the American market, then I would tell you, yeah, it's gotta be the best thing. Just because, look, I bought it under my personal right now, but we're gonna roll it into the corporation because I found the deal and I said I'm not gonna wait. I said let's just buy it and we'll do it. You know, I knew that we could roll it in just like we could do in Canada, so it's not the issue. But it's just the fact of like understanding that right now, luckily it's vacant at this point. But we're open to liability if something happens to this place.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, it shouldn't take long. I think the opening of the account is like a couple months, not even. No, sorry, a couple weeks, not even. It's like 2 to 3 weeks. They told me it's open, and then you open up your bank account and everything, and then you're ready to go.
Okay. You guys are learning a lot. That's good.
We're trying. We decided to leave the Canadian market for a bit and said, you know what, let's just focus on abroad. I see so much opportunity here in Florida. It's crazy.
It was getting hard up here.
It's not that I don't think there's opportunity, and yes, it is hard, but it's one of those things that like there's so many factors to consider: interest rates, your down payments, your creative financing, your relationships with other people, like. And then you're restricted to can I turn these tenants out?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I'm like, I could take a fraction of the cost. Like we're gonna invest maybe 75,000 American into this deal because 40K is the original in, and the renovation is probably gonna be it's minimal renovations because you're just putting up some simple walls. Depending on the house too, if it's a new build that's clean and you just have to put up some simple walls. It's gonna cost you like 30 grand max.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in for 70 and I'm making a cash like almost immediate. Renovation is gonna be maybe 2 months. My other project in Longueuil took us a year and a half, and then the refi another 7 to 8 months, like 2 years with no return.
So for that, the one in Longueuil that you guys showed us there?
Yeah, the one that you guys came to visit, we finally got the refi like let's say 2 months ago. No, last month. Sorry, last month. So,
yeah.
and we were done last May.
Wow.
So again, CMHC now has new rules, and the other thing, you buy another property, and within 2 years of you doing the property, CMHC changes the rules again, and now you're stuck.
That's what I noticed.
So I'm not too keen. Like I think new builds are still interesting and all that stuff, but I think the optimization project, I'm not really feeling it anymore. So I said, let me just venture out and see what happens, and that's what we did.
Yeah, us too. Like that's what our goal is, like to just replace like our monthly income. So
Yeah,
we're not gonna get that with multifamily right now. So like we're gonna
multi-family is an
go.
equity play long term.
Yeah,
It's retirement.
yeah,
That's all it is. Well, in Canada, I would say maybe here it's different because they don't have the same lending capabilities. Like they're not giving 95% loan to value here. Whereas in Canada, they were giving 95% loan to value. Yes, based on the economic value, but it's still ridiculous. Like that's all you're doing is pushing up equity. So yeah, now like in our build, I have 400,000 of dormant equity, but cash flow is less than 12K a year.
wow.
Like, wow. And then if you have partners, so you're not even getting that full 12K. So
That's true, huh?
that's what people forget. It's like, yeah, I have 12K cash flow, but I'm not the only one. Even if you split it in two, and then you're paying taxes on that.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, you made 6,000, then you pay taxes, and you're down to like 3 or 4. It doesn't subsidize your income yet.
The funny part is that I was looking into vending machines,
Yeah,
and I'm like, because there's posts that you can. There was a guy that I found. He sells like whole, like vending machines, like the places and everything. And there was one that was making gross 50K a year. And I'm like, I'm sure that even if you take off 60% of that, that's way more than you would get out of a multifamily deal right now.
you want my honest opinion? Real estate, owning assets in real estate, it's not the get out of my job in the next 5 years. Like I own 34 units now, plus the two in America and one in Portugal, and I'm still not like, oh yeah, I could like party and like not worry, and whenever I find a deal, I find a deal. No, it's like we're still on the grind. I still work a part-time job. Like it doesn't make sense. Like I try to make people understand what I realized from the beginning, which I didn't do myself. You need to create a business within real estate that pays you monthly, and that's why we created the co-hosting and the I guess the hospitality business beside us, because I never wanted to take care of the hospitality business, so I'm grateful my girlfriend wanted to do it. But I should have started a property management company from day one, charging my buildings, because just off of that, then I could have maybe got other contacts for other buildings, and I would have been collecting 5 to 8% of the building gross just to answer the phone. I was already doing it for my own buildings. Why not charge the building for it, and then find other people to just do it together, and then I just disperse the work. Like I just have to basically, when I receive a call, I dispatch whoever service that has to go and do it.
Yeah. So
Like that's my biggest mistakes. I think real estate is poorly taught, and a lot of people tell you it's an easy way to get out of your 9 to 5, but it's bullshit. You have to actually create a business within it, and then own the assets for future growth and future wealth. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you not to own the asset, but the business will pay the day to day until the point where you have enough units or profitable units to cash flow is strong enough for you.
so if you were to restart, that's what you would do.
100%. I would open up a property management company. Just send out flyers. Go talk to building owners. Charge them the 6 to 7%, and then not just that. These guys eventually they're gonna get tired. They're gonna want to sell, and you can pick it up because you know what's in it.
That's true. And you have the
Like
relationship.
you have the relationship. They're gonna see you first before they're like, hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy the building? And you say, yeah, I'll buy it. And then they might even do seller financing with you because they know you. They're like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I would, if I had to redo it, like if you're starting off, I would tell you open up the management company right away. If you own your own asset, charge it to your asset, and then just see if other people want to do it for you. Simple, because you need something that pays the day to day,
Yeah.
so that you can quit and focus on this full time. Because then after that, once, like you said, once I make 50 to 80K in the year, I can focus on just finding new assets, making new relationships, finding new partners. I don't have to focus on I need to work my 40 hours a week to be able to do this.
Yeah. That's
And
very
then
true.
management part, like it's so easily, like at one point, if you have enough doors and enough revenue coming in, you don't even have to do it anymore. You just outsource it. You just hire someone. who, like, you find online. I just need you to pick up the phone and enter it into this, like a young
A
kid who wants to
VA.
get into real estate, a VA, and you tell them. And some people actually just do it by email, by the way, and you just get someone to answer the emails for $20 an hour, and that's a $40,000 a year. But now you collect the difference.
Yeah.
So it's not all, you don't have to be in it for years to come. You just have to be in it to the point where it makes enough money that you can outsource a portion of it that you don't like, and then it grows the rest.
Yeah. That's really good because that's pretty much where we're at right now. You know, we were trying to figure out how can we create income within the real estate space because that's the issue. We need money now so that we can let go of those 40 hours a week. So then we can eventually focus on multifamily 2 to 3 years from now and build the long term wealth, like you said.
I'm telling you, don't listen to Alfonso on these things and others. Listen to me, like my mistake. Like these are guys that are different, right? They have more pull, they have a bit more
They're past
credibility.
that.
They're past the point, right?
Yeah.
You need something that pays your bills today. Find out a business that pays the bills today.
Yeah.
So you said related to real estate, co-host, property management. You could be a consultant that if you're really good with numbers, you just basically you say, okay, you evaluate how to do the refi for someone and you charge them a flat fee. There are so many ways to figure these steps out, but at least you're creating the business within real estate.
Yeah.
That's like people don't understand. I've had this conversation with Baba and everything. It's like, unless you create a fund or something that you're charging fees to whoever's investing in you, because even the guys, like I know other guys, these guys, Leo and Cedric, I don't know if you've met them already. They're guys from Montreal too, but they joined Well Genius maybe 6 to 8 months ago. They have $60 under their portfolio, and they struggled and they're two guys doing this full time, and they said they're like, we're equity rich, but there's nothing paying our bills today.
That's the reality.
Like that's what it is. That's what I tell people. It's like when I tell people, like people who don't know real estate, like, oh, I own 35 doors, and they're like, oh shit, you must be rolling. I said, you don't understand. On paper, I'm worth like 750,000. Great, but the paper, I can't just trade it into Hydro Quebec or to my phone bills or to the bank. I can't do that. I have to be able to pay my bills today.
Yeah.
So unless I liquidate everything, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So people don't understand it until they're in it. And I'm telling you, if I could teach you to avoid this mistake right now, even if you have to take less equity or even no equity into deals, make the business, the equity will come.
Yeah.
Make the business. You're gonna laugh in the business. I'm telling you. Like I know guys who do property management. They have like 300 doors in Quebec right now in Montreal, and they work on Chabanel. They have an office. They have employees, and they're laughing because my 6 unit generates 100,000. So if you charge 8 to 10% on that, you're making 10K on my sixplex. Now imagine having times, let's say 100, even let's say 60 or 70. You're laughing at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
It snowballs that quickly. People don't understand it. And property management is one of the, I would like to say that you get overpaid for what you're actually doing, because at the end of the day, you're a glorified secretary. You're picking up the phone and you're just dispatching your teams. That's all it is. You're meeting good plumbers, good electricians that you can count on to go and send them. And all you're doing is you're telling the tenant, make sure to open the door for this time. The guy's going to be there. That's it. Or if he can't be there, you show up to open the door, but you got paid. And if you have to displace yourself, there's extra fees that you charge. Like,
wow.
I'm telling you, it's a crazy business. The flat fee of 5 to 10%, whatever it is just for them to pick up the phone and answer the calls or the emails.
Yeah.
They take care of sending out the rent increases and this and that, but everything else after that.
Yeah, because everything else you have to pay extra.
Exactly.
And I think even I was talking to someone when we were looking at a deal. They were like, they'll take X amount for every new tenant that they bring in, also like to bring people into the building.
If you rent out the apartment, that you take half of first month's rent, by the way.
That's why people do it. That's
so I'm telling you,
that's easy.
That's
paycheck.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you, that's why, like, if I had to redo it, and like I can still do it now, it's just at this point I've just pivoted and realized that I have other ways that I can make some money.
Yeah.
But if you're getting started, like you guys are trying to crack into in the space, I would tell you to do that. Like I'm telling you, it's a gold mine.
Yeah.
Like I think once you're there, then you can, like you said, shift your focus, take less hours from work, and then just run with it, and then start acquiring whatever you want to acquire at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the best things. Or like you said, if you want to get into real estate, go work for companies that are doing it right.
That too.
That was also one of my mistakes. I'm the type of person that I do my own research. I figure shit out. Like past split, it's 8 months. I've been researching it and understanding it and figuring out how to make it work with subject to and all that. And then I just jump in. Like there's a part of me that's scared, but I just say fuck it. Let's just go. Because I realize that I can over analyze, and I'm never gonna pull the trigger. So even if, let's say, it's like just good enough, and it might be like I'm forgetting something, I said just do it, and we'll figure it out after. I'll figure out how to make it better. Because the way I see it is, any problem has a solution.
Mm-hmm. Did you
So
overanalyze at one point and like miss out on the deal?
there was times where like we lost a lot of deals actually. Last year we didn't close on anything.
On any of them?
We made, in the last 2 years, Joe and I made, I would say, like 8 to 10 offers on different buildings that were accepted, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Not offers that were accepted. And I think on 5 of them we did inspections, and on 2 of them we went to financing, and we like didn't pass there. Like I had a deal until December. It's actually my guy who's doing my financing who fucked me up. He took too long to get back to me with the financing, and we ended up losing the deal.
Because they didn't want to extend it, I guess. The seller.
The seller got another offer right after, like right around the last week that I had that, and he's like, "Forget it. I'm just gonna wait it out." So we couldn't do anything.
Wow.
We lost the deal there. Like last year was a rough year because we spent a lot of money. Like I spent on one building doing due diligence. Joe and I spent like 10 grand. Paid for inspection, paid for environmental test, paid for an engineer to come check out the structural, and then finally we walked away from the deal. It's like, it hurts, man. It hurts. It burns holes in our pockets. But look, there's some things that you're grateful you walked away from it because you saw there could have been bigger headaches.
That's true.
But there's some things like there's times where I saw myself overanalyzing. I'm like, you know what? If I don't pull the trigger, like my first ever real estate deal, we almost walked away. We met at Square Victoria. We used to work right there. I used to work at CIBC. You used to work for State Street, and we met there for lunch. It was the last day that we could walk away on inspection, and we were worried because it was the first 50K each. We both graduated university. We were putting in, and we're like, fuck, it's a lot of money.
That's all our money at that point, right?
At that point, it was everything. Like we were in, and we didn't even have a reserve fund. Like I didn't have like, oh, if we have to do rentals or anything. No, it was our like last penny, and we said, fuck it, let's just do it. And you know what? It was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I went in and I didn't know half of the things I know now. Like I was just looking at it on cash flow purposes, and I'm like, oh wow, I was happy with a bit of cash flow at the end of the year, but the place wasn't optimized. There was things to fix. Like there was shit to do, and I didn't know half of these things because I could have maybe invested with someone I know to understand these things, but I didn't. Like I didn't know the economic side of it. I didn't know all these things. I learned it by doing it and speaking about our deals. But at first, it was I was lucky that I got into it because I also figured out that I enjoyed it too, right? So it's one of those things. But if I never would have just said, "Fuck it, let's just do it," even if the return was mediocre, I never would have got to this point. Like I'm openly gonna say it. I'm lucky that I'm pretty naive on things sometimes. Like because the biggest problem is that you overthink and you're like, "What if worst case happens?"
How many times has the worst case actually happened?
I think I could tell you never.
Never.
I'm telling you, like, we've had some problems. We've had water damage. We've had the sixplex in Longueuil that you came and visit. The day a tenant moved in, middle floor, upstairs, water damage, like, same week. Same week they moved in, we had water damage. So the place is brand new, water damage. Like, shit happens, but like I said, everything has a solution, especially with regards to real estate. Like, apart from you buying the deal really poorly, like you bought it and you overpaid for this thing, any renovations, construction, it could always be repaired, and it's not lost. Like if you make a repair, like you have to change the windows, whatever, there's value to be added to the building. So unless you're way overpaying for this building, and Longueuil, we overpaid. Like I paid that place $900,000. It was producing $32,000 in revenue.
Wow.
Like I overpaid for that building. It was 2021. It was times where people were making bidding wars. Like I found this building. We got lucky that it was on the market for a while, but I overpaid for the building. 100% overpaid. But I knew that the potential was way further.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got a value at 1.7, so I knew that it was coming. But I was assuming I was going to turn all the tenants.
And that's what you did.
So I was naive, but it took a long time. Even the first 6 months negotiating with these tenants, man, forget it. At one point, there was one tenant. I'm like, she's never leaving. It's over. And again, it wouldn't have been bad. Maybe the building would have been worth 1.5, whatever it is. But I went in. We were turning all the tenants.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And now looking back, it's like, I think I can still do it because I have some contacts that helped us out and all this stuff. It's great, but do I think it's going to be that easy? And more people are knowing of these things now. It's like, I got away with paying everyone 8 to 9K. Now it might be 15 to pay someone to leave.
Yeah.
So it's just like when people think the worst case is going to happen, like the building will never collapse on itself. You actually, one of my buildings almost caught fire, and I was praying that it caught them. The tenant almost caught fire. One of the tenants calls me. He's like, the smoke alarm's been going off for a while. And I went there. No one's answering, but it smells like smoke. So I run to the building. And the guy left the chicken in the fucking stove. And it was smoking the whole apartment. I broke in and decided. But I left and I called Joe. And I said, Joe, I wish the guy never would have called me. The place would have burned down. We would have got a brand new building. Or we would have got a cash out from the insurance. And that's it.
That's funny.
So that's why, like, there's anything that can't be fixed. That's the way I see things. Yes, in the moment it's stressful. Like the last 2 years have been stressful because I've been floating. We were doing tenant renovations in 3 buildings.
Okay, tenant renovations?
So I was renovating 6 apartments in Longueuil. I was renovating apartment or a PF building, and I was renovating my duplex to convert it to a triplex. And like funds were tight, man. I was like on maxed out credit cards, maxed out line of credits, like nonstop. And between me and my girlfriend, and like we were paying $500 a card and $500 a line of credit to pay like the minimum balance.
Wow.
So $3,000 a month going to these cards and my line of credits. We're making a dent into some of these things. So to say that I wasn't stressed, yeah, that'd be stupid for me to say I wasn't stressed. But I don't know. I saw a way out and I figured it out. And even now, like we got the refi, I paid out a good chunk of everything, and we weren't even close to like everything paid out because interest rates climbed too high. So there's a lot more equity in the building that we could have took out. But I saw another way to take out the money by the end of this year, and by the end of this year, it should be debt free and back like in clear waters. No?
Ready to do it again.
Ready to jump all in, to be honest. Yeah, exactly that. I'm the type of guy, I'm not scared with risk in real estate, not other things. Like I'm not big on the stock market. I can't do the stock market. Some people can, I can't do it. Like I want to eventually learn how to do certain things, but to me, it's you're at the mercy of news or people's emotions, and I don't like that.
Big companies. If you're in the stock market, it's really the big companies, man. Like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's even those things like CEO dies tomorrow, boom, plummets, and it's not like you did anything to do this.
Yeah.
It's just it happens. It's
you can't see it.
So it's stuff like that like I want to diversify my portfolio, and that's also why I'm diversifying more real estate. Like we have Canadian assets. We're going to get into some short-term rentals to help us with the cash flows. We're into the co-living space. I want to get into potentially commercial, industrial eventually. That's like our future goal. But I want to diversify in real estate. I want to eventually get into stock markets and all that stuff. But I'm comfortable knowing that my real estate journey, like I'm pretty confident in my experience at this point, you know?
Yeah.
The way I see it for you guys is, and this is what I tell everyone, my biggest mistake is I didn't have a network of people that I could reach out and ask these questions. When I started, I taught myself everything I knew, and even my father was telling me not to buy a building. So it's like I told Olivier and Gab, those two young kids, they asked me questions. I said, you guys just have to ping me. Like, never gonna tell you no. Even you say, like, I'm never gonna tell you no. Like, don't ask me the question. I'd rather you ask me, because if I was in your shoes and I had the ability to reach out to someone, I wish I had that opportunity, you know. And I'm never gonna tell someone no, because if I wished it, it means I should be able to give it back to someone else.
Yeah.
So like, if you have any questions, let me know. The American Market, I'm gonna send you the contact for the GPLP. I'll tell you to reach out to him and speak to him first. The first call is free, so do it.
Okay. Yeah, at least to get all the information, like the costs, and just understand how everything works.
He explains it extremely well. He explains like how they all link up, why you have to do these things, what comes from what, and it's great because other lawyers never took the time to explain to me and still charge me double what he's charging. So he's great for that. He's got great contacts, and what's good about him is he actually is a real estate investor himself, and he also knows about subject too. So if you want to actually do contracts with him and everything, he can actually do it for you.
Wow. Okay. Perfect.
I only found this out later, but he does do subject to. He is knowledgeable. He knows the risks that come with it. He knows how to set them up. So I think he's an all-in-one lawyer, which is great.
That's awesome.
So I got lucky that someone referred me from the Thomas Larini side, because I heard Thomas doesn't really like sharing his contacts if you're not part of the U.S. side. So tread lightly on how you refer. Just say like just say well genius and like I referred you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'd say speak out to him, and then when I get any other more information from Rodrigo, I'll let you know what he says, because I'm curious to know. I have some finance people, like some lenders that I was speaking to. I didn't do anything with them because we did subject to, but that do know of Walt Genius when they came to Tampa and everything. I could send you their contact info to reach out to them too, and they're going to tell you the same thing. You need your LPGP structure, and then once you have that, they can figure out how to get the lending and all that stuff.
Okay. Perfect.
So if you need those, I can send those too as well. And then apart from that, I'd say have the call with AdSplit, because you're going to learn a lot from them too.
Okay, I will. Awesome.
If it's something that interests you. So
it definitely does, especially with the cash flow aspect of it. That's our main focus, man. We just want to draw as much cash flow as we can.
So and I think getting into it now in the next couple of years, I think is the best thing. I'm seeing failed Airbnbs converting into this. And I think it's what Airbnb was 5 to 7 years ago, because AdSplit's only been around for 5 years. So
brand new.
They're not even in all the big markets. They're not at so many bedrooms. And the stats of what they talk about, like of people who make less than $35,000 a year, it's enormous in the States. It's crazy.
Yeah, in the States, yeah.
So people are going to struggle to live somewhere, and this is one of the best solutions that's out there right now.
Awesome. Well,
let me know, man. If you have any other questions, you ping me and everything. You have my phone number, right?
Yeah, I do.
Just text me, man. Seriously, it doesn't bother me at all.
All right, we'll do. Well, a big thanks, Seb, for all the info. You definitely shed a lot of light on like our next steps. Like sharing your experience at like what you would have done if you had started. That's like a big eye opener for us, because when you go into multifamily through Wealth Genius, it's a painted picture of what could happen, but that's not the reality right now. So that's what we were really struggling with.
I'm telling you, I'm happy you guys didn't close on something. Not to be mean in that aspect. Like, I'm just saying, you would have invested a year to 2 years of your time into one of these deals, and you would have realized that the payout wasn't what you thought it was.
Yeah, I think that might have put us off, if anything.
Yes. So it was an eye opener for me too last year, because with the interest rates fluctuating and the changes in the market and things that were happening, I was kind of happy that a lot of these deals fell through, because I was chasing them as if I still thought that just having more doors was going to be the solution, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So now that I'm focused on the American market, or focused like yourself, especially that you're looking at Costa Rica, just focus on something different from what Wealth Genius is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that, look, AdSplit now is the new hype and trend. Rodrigo spoke about it. I dropped it, and like a lot of people are now fluctuating to it. Yourself, if you have contacts in South America, you could do the Airbnb stuff. You could do that. You can get so many people that are willing to invest with you, because they know that you're comfortable enough to deal with these hurdles, and you speak the language and all these other things. These are things that are super important that most people, they won't even care enough about the deal. Like, oh yeah, okay, it brings a 10% cash on cash, but I'm invested somewhere completely different.
That's true.
I'm telling you, that's why I looked at the American market, because I'm like, yeah, I know Thomas is doing it, but with multifamily. But I'm like, there's so many other opportunities on the American side: self-storage, flex storage, co-living, Airbnbs, midterm rentals. Like the midterm rentals, people haven't even spoken about that yet. Like we don't have it. We don't do it in Canada, but there's huge opportunity to do it with insurance providers, people that houses that broke, that flooded, or there was a fire, all that stuff. They're paying top dollar. So, like, I'm telling you, do something that works for you guys, and I'm telling you, everything else is gonna come out after.
Yeah.
So just focus on, like you said, figuring out the cash flow problem. And once you figure that out, you can jump into the multifamily. That if it's a big cash cow that's gonna pay out in 2 to 3 years, but that's still great because you had everything covered and paid for at that point.
Yeah. That's the game plan.
You'll be fine, man. I'm telling you. I'm glad, like I told you, I'm glad we both like didn't jump head over heels into the first deal we saw, and then now we figured stuff. It's gonna come. I'm telling you.
Yeah. You got to set it up correctly.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man. Hope you have a good night
problem.
and enjoy the time there.
Sounds good. I'm gonna be running around meeting with a bunch of contractors. So hopefully, I'm gonna try to network with a few people here.
Yeah.
I found some events, but we're gonna see what happens.
Perfect.
Have a good one, Sig.
All right. Ciao, man. Take care.
Later.